Hi guys, welcome back to Global Shutter Productions. Today we're going to be looking at the OM2 and the OM2N, which we've got lined up right here, along with a couple of lenses. And the OM2 was the successor to the OM1, obviously. It was introduced in 1975, and it continued the trend of being very compact, smooth in operation, and high quality with the build and stuff, which is really cool. And today we're going to be taking it on location with a couple of lenses that all obviously are part of the OM system, and yes, they're very compact, very high quality, and we're going to be looking at them as well. And today we're going to be also trying out the metering modes that are available on this camera. So that is a aperture priority mode, where you set the aperture and the camera will figure out how long it needs to expose the film. And yes, we're going to use that for some long exposures and general shooting, and we're going to have a lot of fun, so let's get into it. So hopefully that B-roll footage showed you how beautiful this camera is, and it also feels that way. It really is built like a tank, and the lenses are really nice as well, and it's just a joy to work with. And like I said, I mean, this is top notch. We're now obviously going to go shoot this bad boy. We are going to load up some Kentmere Pan 400. This is like a cheap version of Ilford. It's actually made by Ilford, but it's like for students and stuff. Going to see how that performs. We're going to shoot it at ISO 400, so box speed. And yeah, we're going to go try some long exposures here at this location. It is a lost place where we live, and we're going to see how we can capture this place, and hopefully we get some amazing light. So let's go. We just found this really awesome tower in the middle of this lost place, and we've crept into it, and we've now found a shot that we actually want to take, which is of this lovely like bird nest which is being hit by the sunlight coming from the outside obviously. And yeah, we're going to take a shot of that. So we are shooting this image on the black OM2 that we own on the 135mm 2.8. And we're going to use the chance we have now to do this whole thing with the automatic mode, which is really cool. So you just set the aperture on the camera, or on the lens rather, and the camera will do like a calculation of how much time it needs for the proper exposure on the film. And the cool thing is that on the Olympus OM2 and OM2N obviously, is that the metering is actually dynamic, which means that whilst you're exposing for a long time, basically, it keeps on reading the light and adjusts the exposure accordingly. And that means that when we're shooting and, for instance, there's a lot of light coming in, suddenly when the shutter's open, it will adjust and it will shut the shutter on time basically. And it really makes for like a really easy shooting. That's really something we really like, because obviously you just set the camera up, you set your aperture. We're now shooting at 5.6 to get a lot of focus. And you just take a shot, and then you can do exposure bracketing because you've got exposure compensation. And you just go one step over, one step under. That's what we're doing. And that way you have like a range of exposures that you can work with, which is really great. And it guarantees that you've got the right exposure in the end. And we feel that on 35mm, this is a really great option because, each shot isn't that expensive, and we just want to run and gun basically when we use this camera. And it's like a really great way because you're not so slow. So when we go shooting on our Mamias, basically, it does take a very long time to find a shot, expose it, find the exposure, stuff like that. It does, take a considerable amount of time. And with this, it's really fun and easy, and it's kind of like a more leisure way of taking photos sometimes. So really fun, and we're just going to take the shot now. So we are done shooting this location. Hopefully we've gotten some great black and white shots, and future me is waiting just beyond the store to take you on a journey throughout a little region here in Germany called the Harz. It's a national park, and yeah, we're going to do some color photography with I think gold 200 or something. We'll decide in the future, and yeah, let's go through the door. Here we are at our next location. I've chosen a picture of a mushroom here to try out some macro photography, and I'm using the 50mm 3.5 and this angle viewfinder to find my composition and also to nail that focus, because this viewfinder has a 2.5x crop mode. The mushroom is being backlit by this, well, by the sun obviously, and it's very nice because you can see the structure of the mushroom, and therefore I've decided to take the picture this way, and it's a very steep angle upwards of the mushroom to see the structure. And yeah, we're going to take a shot now. I've loaded up new film obviously, and unfortunately I forgot Portra 160 at home, so we had to do with Kodak Gold 200, which is not the best stock, but we'll have to do it for today. And yes, we're going to take the picture now. Okay, so we're back in the studio here with the cameras. As you saw, it was a ton of fun shooting these cameras out on location. And we're now going to talk about some positives, some negatives that we feel about this camera. And first of all, we're obviously going to start off with one really big positive thing. It's the build quality. I mean, they're just amazing. They're really well built, they're tough. The viewfinder is incredibly bright, which makes focusing really easy, which is lovely. And it just feels very high quality. I mean, the film advanced level, when you like twist that, so smooth, very nice. And yes, it's very enjoyable. And something that obviously the OM system as a whole is known for is being very compact, which definitely reflects in these two cameras, but also in the whole lens lineup, which is fantastic because you've got a lot of lenses with you all the time basically that are fairly lightweight and very compact, which is just fun, especially when you're traveling. And also a benefit of using these lenses is that you can use them on your digital camera. So right now, for instance, we're shooting on a 50mm 1.8. And usually when we shoot outside, we've got this whole Frankenstein of a rig with, you know, an ND filter, and you can shoot a lot of stuff with this and they're just enjoyable. And like I said, they're very compact, which makes them ideal for going out and shooting. And something we like about the OM2 especially is that it's a good way to get into the OM system because it's fairly affordable, and for your money, you're getting a lot of camera. So obviously it's high quality, and there's other options in the OM system like the OM10 that are more affordable, but they're just not as high quality and fun to work with. And they just feel a little bit cheaper because naturally they are. Now, as you guys saw in the video, we do use the automatic metering mode a great deal because it basically makes working with this camera extremely easy. When you're out and about, you're just shooting and you want to get the shot, you definitely want to get the exposure. It's very easy because you just set the camera to do it. You go one step over, one step under, and you're basically sure that you're going to get something to work with. And you just got to make sure you nail the focus, which, like I said, on the viewfinder is fairly easy. So it does make shooting very comfortable. Speaking of the shot and the shoots we did, we were really satisfied with the images, and we definitely really liked this image of a mushroom that we took, which we obviously photographed, and you guys saw it on the film. And yeah, we decided to print it because we thought it was really cool, and we're going to hang it up in the office because we really like the way the sun does shine through the image basically. And there are one or two things that we don't really understand. For one, there's not a mirror lockup, but we haven't had any problems with that because apparently the mirror is dampened a lot, and also there's special mechanisms to feather the vibrations. And basically when doing long exposures, we haven't had any trouble with that, but it's just something that's missing on this camera. And also there's a shutter lock, or there isn't rather a shutter lock. So that's something you might want to look out for. And basically if you're one of those people like us that always advance the film to get the next shot, you might want to watch out, because obviously if you have it in your bag and the next shot is already loaded, you might waste that shot because it just fires off in your bag. So look out for that. And also if you own one of these, apparently if you leave it at a high shutter speed and you put it in standby, the battery will actually drain fairly fast. Something that is worthwhile doing is just putting it on 1/60th of a second, because that's just the natural speed of this camera, and therefore it will not drain the battery as fast in the standby mode. Okay, for those people that have been convinced and now want to go buy this camera, there's a couple of things you might want to look out for. First of all, really important, down here there's a cap that is missing a lot of times because, I don't know, it's for the winder. You take that off and you can put the winder on, and somehow a lot of times that is just missing, and obviously that's not so great because dirt can get in and stuff, so you might want to look out for that. And also there's this thing up here where normally if you look on this camera, basically the hot shoe mounts, you basically screw it on, and a lot of time that leaves scratches on the camera. So if you're one of those people that want to get a camera in mint condition, you might want to look out for that. Otherwise they are, you know, fairly easy to obtain, and also they are very reliable, so that's great. As you guys can see, we really like the OM2 and also the whole OM system as well. So we really think that this OM2 is also perfect for beginners because it's just a perfectly nice package and it's high quality, it's perfect. And if you're looking for a lens to, you know, buy for this camera, we really recommend a 50mm 1.8 when starting out. That will get you going, and then you can just look at all the glory this set has to offer, and you can just, yeah, spend a lot of money. But also there's a lot of great budget options. For instance, there's this 135 2.8, which you can get for fairly cheap money, and it's just perfect. It's really great, and we really recommend you just look into it. But the 50mm will get you started very nicely. So that is it, basically. This is the review. We've got a couple of other cameras of the OM system we could review, like the OM40i, which is a more advanced camera with more advanced metering modes. That's very exciting. We could do a review on that. So that might be something we could do in the future. And also something we thought about doing is just introducing the whole OM system as a whole. So that might be fun. And if you want to, keep on supporting the channel, leave a thumbs up and subscribe.